And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I'm your pal, Dan L. This is my channel. I'm a little bit worried that humanity might have reached a point that it can't be saved by Kal-El. Today's video is entitled Knowing What is Untrue. This is crucial, isn't it? You've heard a lot of people throughout all of human history say the danger is people who know a bunch of stuff, but it's all untrue. You've heard that from Mark Twain, you heard it from Ronald Reagan, you've heard it from philosophers, writers, politicians, business people. You've heard it from lots of people throughout human history. That it's dangerous if you run into someone and they have all the answers. The problem is their answers are wrong. They know everything. Problem is almost everything they know is wrong. And quite often, most of the time, in fact, the people that we're talking about, these people who are smarter, they're better than you and I, they're geniuses, these people rise to levels of power. That's dangerous. You don't want people in positions of authority who know everything. It just happens to be untrue. It happens to be false. But yet, that's the world we live in. I'm going to give you a little example of what we're talking about. Let's pretend for a second you and I are having a conversation. The year is 1491. So you and I climbed inside of a time machine. We went back to the year 1491 and we're living in Europe. Maybe we're living in Spain. I don't know. So we're having a conversation and one of us is saying that the world is round, it's a globe, and the other one of us is saying the world is flat. Well, the one of us between the two who says the world is flat, they're going to win the argument. That's in this conversation, this fictional 1491 conversation, the genius is the one who says the world's flat because the powers that be have mandated that the world is flat. That's the scientific consensus. That is the consensus of the powers that be. The world's flat. It's not round. Um, and again, so these people, and so many of these people were smart. The people who argued the world was flat. Many of these people were certainly in positions of authority, positions of power. And so the smart people knew the world was flat. It just so happens the world wasn't flat. The world was round. Now, why do I bring that up? Because I want to go to a second part of this video where I read to you something from a website called Odyssey. I'm going to read you seven little things which you know. You've heard these things before, but you're going to find out that what you know isn't correct. Have you ever heard the number one? There's going to be seven of them. Number one, blood is thicker than water. You've heard that phrase, right? Okay. The full saying is actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Basically, it means exactly the opposite of what most people think. It refers to the idea that the bonds you choose to make can mean much more to you than the ones you were born into and don't have much of a say in. That was saying so blood is thicker than so my understanding, your understanding of that, we got it wrong. It's the opposite of what we think it is. The popular saying number two, curiosity killed the cat. This phrase continues, but satisfaction brought it back. This makes sense, considering the whole idea that cats get 9 lives. I often heard the first half when I was little and asking too many questions, but the full phrase suggests that there is no such thing as too many questions. So so the person who wrote this article on Odyssey, they said when I was little and I would ask too many questions, they'd say curiosity killed the cat, but that wasn't the correct phrase. That phrase had been bifurcated. Phrase number three: a jack of all trades is a master of none. Boy, I've heard that so many times in my life. This saying got cut short as well and originally said, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Bet you haven't heard that part of it. Unlike what our version would lead you to believe, having multiple interests but not being an expert in anything could actually prove advantageous. Boy, this certainly applies to me. I may not be a master at anything, but I am curious about everything, and I've gotten a little bit of knowledge from so many sources. I think I've got a better, well rounded picture of the universe. But anyway, let's go on to phrase number four. Great minds think alike. Small minds rarely differ, is the following line to this once reassuring quote. I would advise you try not to think about that too much the next time you and your classmates are on a roll with your group project. Sometimes phrases get cut short for good reason. Number 5, money is the root of all evil. We've all heard that. Again, the original version is a little longer. The biblical phrase originally reads, the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. There is a difference between making more money than you could possibly spend and keeping it. Something to think about. Phrase number 6, my country, right or wrong. This is often used to justify supporting bad wars. The original actually says, my country, right or wrong, if right, to be kept right, and if wrong, to be set right. This puts the responsibility on the citizen to make sure their country is a good one, not the other way around. So think about that. I'm going to read that. This is very important. My country, right or wrong. This is often used to justify supporting bad wars. The original actually says, my country, right or wrong, if right, to be kept right, and if wrong, to be set right. This puts the responsibility on the citizen, on you and me. We have the responsibility to make the United States of America a great country. Not the people we elect. It's us. So this puts the responsibility on the citizen to make sure their country is a good one, not the other way around, which would be the country making sure the citizens are good. Think about that. Number 7, starve a cold, feed a fever. I've only heard this a couple of times, and it could have multiple meanings just by reading it differently. Not only is it terrible advice, but it's also poorly quoted. The original states, if you starve a cold, you'll have to feed a fever. Now that's advice I can take to heart. Okay, so this was written by someone. I didn't write this. Someone named Haley Marie Craig. And the title of the article on Odyssey or theodyssey.com is 7 Phrases You've Been Misquoting. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Again, I was obviously reading from someone else's work. And more proof, I can always learn, you can always learn, we can always learn from other people. But those are 7 popular quotes, or at least most of those were popular quotes that you and I could recognize, but we had never got the full quote, had we? We'd never heard the full quote, the full length of the cleverness behind the words. Okay, that doesn't make much sense, but I think you get the point. The point is, we were only getting half the story. We were missing out on the full quote. Why? I don't know why we've cut so many quotes that do have some wisdom, have some common sense, maybe logic, reason, rationality. They have something to teach us. But we've misquoted something that was laid down through historical verbal communication, and we've misquoted it. And why? I don't know why. But now you know something that you hopefully you know something you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you already knew the story behind each of those quotes. I didn't. Not, and it's good. It's good to sometimes it's humbling. If we're full of hubris, we're not going to learn much. But if we're humble and we're always open to learning from other sources, and we're always open to examining what we're being told, that is, when someone tells me something or tells you something, you don't have to accept it at face value. You can go do the research. So when I've heard the popular quotes I just read to you, when I heard those quotes, I decided to go do a little research, find out more about the quotes. And when I did that, I found this website which said, "Oh, you don't have the full meaning of the quote because you don't have the full quote." So anyway, so that was today's video. Pretty straightforward. Just a reminder that you and I, not just you and I, everyone on the earth thinks that they have all the answers, or at least they like to pretend they have all the answers. But not only do we not have all the answers, many of the truths we hold as self-evident aren't in fact the truth. In order to understand the objective reality that you and I inhabit, we have to constantly be doing our research. We have to constantly be reassessing what we know. We have to constantly be reanalyzing. So we have to be in a constant state of examining and trying to understand and using our critical thinking skills to comprehend everything we've been told, everything that we've read, everything that we've consumed from a knowledge basis. So today's video was pretty straightforward. You and I know a lot of things which are true, but some of the things you and I may know are untrue, and it's up to us to figure out the things which are untrue and then better understand them so we have a better picture of objective reality. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. Bye-bye.